one taste of his blood, and she whispered, "You complete me, human." Commander Marcus Kane had seen his share of alien worlds, but Zarian III was unlike anything in his military records. The planet's crimson sky swirled with electric storms, while twin moons cast an ethereal glow over the crystalline landscape. He stood at the edge of the ceremonial arena, watching the Zephyrian warriors prepare for what they called the Trial of Honor. The message had reached Earth's Colonial Defense Force 3 weeks ago, a formal challenge from Queen Liara of the Zephyrian Empire. Her people were renowned throughout the galaxy as master warriors, their society built on concepts of honor and strength that humans barely understood. When they requested Earth's finest champion for single combat, Marcus had volunteered without hesitation. Nervous, human, the voice belonged to Captain Elena Vasquez, his longtime friend and fellow officer. She stood beside him in the viewing area reserved for off-world dignitaries, her dark eyes reflecting concern despite her casual tone. "Should I be?" Marcus adjusted the lightweight armor he'd chosen for the battle. No energy weapons were permitted, only traditional combat gear and whatever skills he'd honed over 15 years of military service. "The Zephyrians don't issue challenges lightly," interjected Dr. James Chen, the expedition's xenobiologist. "Their queen has never been defeated in personal combat. Some say she's enhanced, genetically modified for warfare." Marcus nodded grimly. He'd studied the limited intelligence reports on Queen Liara during the journey to Zerion III. Born into the warrior caste, she'd united 3 separate Zephyrian clans through a combination of tactical brilliance and sheer physical prowess. Her people revered her as both ruler and champion. The arena fell silent as a figure emerged from the opposite entrance. Queen Liara moved with predatory grace, her midnight blue skin marked with silver tattoos that seemed to shift in the strange light. She wore minimal armor, just enough to maintain modesty, and carried a curved blade that hummed with barely contained energy. Her violet eyes found Marcus across the arena, and he felt something stir in his chest that had nothing to do with pre-battle adrenaline. She was beautiful in an alien way that caught him off guard. Her movement spoke of deadly precision, yet there was something almost musical about how she carried herself. When she spoke, her voice carried across the arena without amplification, rich and commanding. "I am Liara, daughter of storms, queen of the 3 clans. You stand before me as champion of your species, human. Do you accept this trial willingly?" Marcus stepped forward, his own voice steady despite the circumstances. "I am Commander Marcus, Kane of Earth's Colonial Defense Force. I accept your challenge with honor." A strange smile crossed Liara's features, not mocking but genuinely pleased. "Then let us see what strength flows in human blood." The ceremonial gong rang out, its deep resonance seeming to vibrate through Marcus's bones. Liara moved first, covering the distance between them with inhuman speed. Her blade whistled through the air where his head had been a moment before. Marcus rolled to the side, drawing his own weapon, a titanium combat knife that felt pitifully small compared to her gleaming sword. They circled each other like predators, each testing the other's defenses with quick feints and probing attacks. Marcus quickly realized that brute strength wouldn't win this fight. Liara was faster, stronger, and had reach advantage. But he'd survived 15 years of combat by being smarter than his opponents. As they fought, Marcus noticed something unexpected in the Queen's violet eyes. She wasn't just testing his combat skills, she was studying him, watching how he moved, how he thought. It was as if the battle itself was secondary to some deeper evaluation he didn't understand. The real fight was just beginning. The battle raged for what felt like hours, though Marcus knew it had been mere minutes. Sweat stung his eyes as he parried another lightning-fast strike from Queen Liara's energy blade. She fought with a fluid grace that made combat look like a deadly dance, her midnight blue skin glistening under Zerion's twin moons. Marcus had landed several hits, but none seemed to slow her down. His tactical training kept him alive, using the arena's crystalline formations for cover and leverage, but he was tiring, while she seemed as fresh as when they'd started. "Impressive, human," Liara called out during a brief respite, both fighters circling each other warily. "Your people chose their champion well, but strength alone will not save you here." "Good thing I brought more than strength," Marcus replied, wiping blood from a shallow cut on his cheek. In truth, he was running out of options. Her enhanced physiology gave her advantages he couldn't match in a straight fight. That's when he noticed it, a pattern to her attacks. Despite her alien nature, she fought with a warrior's pride that he recognized. She was giving him chances to prove himself, testing different aspects of his abilities. This wasn't just combat, it was evaluation. Marcus made his decision. Instead of continuing the defensive battle that would inevitably end in his defeat, he dropped his guard and stepped forward, opening himself to attack. "If you want to know what I'm made of, then find out." Liara's violet eyes widened in surprise, but her warrior's instincts took over. Her blade moved in a silver arc, faster than he could possibly dodge. But instead of a killing blow, she adjusted. At the last second, the energy weapon slicing across his shoulder rather than through his heart. Pain flared through Marcus's body as he staggered backward, pressing his hand against the wound. Blood seeped between his fingers, darker than usual under the alien sky. He expected to see triumph in Liara's eyes, but instead found something else entirely: hunger. The Zephyrian queen approached slowly, her weapon lowered but not discarded. "You would have died rather than surrender," she said, her voice carrying a note of wonder, "even knowing defeat was certain." "Some things are worth dying for," Marcus managed through gritted teeth. "Honor, duty, protecting those who can't protect themselves." Liara knelt beside him, her violet gaze intense. "Show me," she whispered. Before Marcus could ask what she meant, she leaned forward and pressed her lips to his wounded shoulder. The sensation was electric, not just the touch of her mouth, but something deeper. As she tasted his blood, he felt a connection form between them, something that transcended physical sensation. Images flashed through his mind, not his own memories, but hers. He saw the Zephyrian homeworld, beautiful and terrible, constantly threatened by cosmic storms. He felt her loneliness as a queen who could never show weakness, never find an equal. He experienced her desperate search for someone who could understand the burden of leadership. When she pulled away, her eyes were glowing with an inner light he hadn't noticed before. "You are the one," she breathed, her voice barely audible over the murmur of the watching crowd. The prophecies spoke of a warrior from distant stars whose blood would sing with courage. "You are my completion, human." Marcus stared at her, struggling to process what had just happened. "I don't understand." "The bond is formed," Liara announced, rising to address the gathered Zephyrians. Her voice carried across the arena with regal authority. "This human has proven himself worthy. He will stand at my side as co-ruler and mate." The crowd erupted in a mixture of cheers and shocked murmurs. Marcus felt his world tilt on its axis. He'd come here expecting a simple combat trial, not an alien marriage proposal sealed with blood and mystical connection. "What happens now?" he asked, still processing the supernatural bond he could feel forming between them. Liara's smile was radiant. "Now, my warrior, we prepare for war." The War Council chamber in Queen Liara's fortress overlooked Zarian III's storm-racked landscape. Marcus stood beside the holographic tactical display, still adjusting to his new role as co-ruler of the Zephyrian Empire. 3 days had passed since the trial, and the mystical bond between him and Liara had only grown stronger. The hegemonies. "Fleet will reach our outer colonies within the solar week," reported General Katos, Liara's most trusted military advisor. The scarred Zephyrian warrior gestured to the red markers spreading across their territory map. Their advanced scouts have already begun bombardment of civilian settlements. Marcus studied the enemy positions with a strategist's eye. The hegemony, a ruthless collective of machine-augmented species, had been expanding through this sector for years, consuming entire civilizations. "They're using a standard conquest pattern," he observed. "Divide our forces by threatening multiple targets simultaneously. Exactly what I would expect from soulless machines," Liara said, her violet eyes flashing with anger. "They understand tactics but not the heart of a warrior. That will be their downfall." Captain Vasquez, who had remained on Zerion Thrur as Earth's military liaison, leaned forward over the display. Co-ruler Kane, Earth Command has authorized me to share our latest intelligence on hegemony weaknesses. Their networked systems create vulnerabilities we might exploit." Dr. Chen, still fascinated by the xenobiological implications of Marcus and Liara's bond, added his analysis. "The Queen's people possess natural electromagnetic abilities that could disrupt hegemony communications. Combined with human tactical doctrine, we create a force multiplier effect," Marcus finished, seeing the strategy take shape. He looked to Liara, feeling her approval through their connection before she spoke it aloud. "You think like a true Zephyrian warrior," she said, her hand finding his across the tactical display. The touch sent warmth through both of them, not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. "We will show these invaders that some bonds cannot be broken by mere technology." The next weeks blurred together in preparation for the greatest battle in Zephyrian history. Marcus found himself adapting to alien military traditions while introducing human concepts of combined arms tactics. His bond with Liara allowed them to coordinate with an almost telepathic precision, their thoughts and strategies flowing together like complementary melodies. During quiet moments between planning sessions, they explored their connection. Marcus learned that Zephyrian bonding was more than ceremonial. It created actual psychic links between compatible individuals. The taste of his blood had confirmed what their ancient prophecies foretold: a warrior from the stars whose courage would complete their queen's power. "Your people don't form bonds like this?" Liara asked one evening as they stood on her private balcony, watching the aurora-like storms dance across Zerion's upper atmosphere. "Some couples claim to be soulmates," Marcus replied, marveling at how natural it felt to hold her close despite their different origins. "But nothing like what we share. I can feel your emotions, your thoughts. Sometimes I'm not sure where I end and you begin." "That is the gift and burden of true bonding," she said softly. "We are stronger together, but also more vulnerable. If one falls, the other is diminished," Marcus finished. He'd learned enough about Zephyrian culture to understand the implications. "Then we make sure neither of us falls." Their moment of peace was interrupted by urgent alerts from the orbital defense grid. The hegemony's main fleet had arrived ahead of schedule, their massive dreadnoughts dropping out of hyperspace like mechanical vultures. "So much for having more time to prepare," Marcus muttered, already moving toward the command center. Liara's smile was fierce and wild, her warrior nature fully aroused. "Time is a luxury warriors cannot afford. Come, my bondmate, let us show the galaxy what happens when human ingenuity meets Zephyrian fury." As alarms echoed through the fortress, Marcus felt their connection pulse with shared determination. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The battle for Zerion Thrur erupted across 3 dimensions as the hegemony fleet engaged the combined Zephyrian human defense force. From the command bridge of the flagship Storm's Eye, Marcus coordinated the space battle, while Liara led ground forces against the mechanical invaders who had managed to breach the orbital defenses. Hegemony dreadnought approaching from Sector 7, reported Lieutenant Commander Zara Torres, the tactical officer Earth Command had assigned to the Joint Fleet. Their shields are adapting to our conventional weapons. Marcus felt Liara's presence in his mind, her thoughts flowing across their bond, despite the distance between them. Through her eyes, he saw Zephyrian warriors unleashing their natural bioelectric abilities against hegemony ground forces, their silver tattoos glowing as they channeled lightning-like energy through their weapons. The machines cannot adapt to what they do not understand. Liara's mental voice carried fierce satisfaction. Your people's creativity combined with our storm gift creates chaos in their programming. Confirmed, Marcus said aloud for his crew's benefit. The enemy's adaptation protocols are failing against hybrid tactics. Captain Vasquez, are your fighters ready for the next phase? Elena's voice crackled through the comm from her interceptor squadron. Human pilots with Zephyrian energy weapons? We're ready to light up the sky, Marcus. The combined assault was devastating. Human fighters, enhanced with Zephyrian storm technology, cut through hegemony formations like silver lightning. The mechanical invaders, programmed to counter known tactical doctrines, found themselves facing something entirely new. Two species fighting as one. But the hegemony had surprises of their own. Their command ship, a massive construct the size of a small moon, began charging some kind of planet-killer weapon. Its target was obvious, Zerion 3's population centers. Energy readings off the scale, Dr. Chen reported from the science station, his voice tight with worry. If that weapon fires, it won't, Marcus said with quiet certainty. Through his bond with Liara, he could feel her making the same decision he was. Some sacrifices were worth making for those you loved. Together, her mental voice asked. Together, he confirmed. All ships, this is Co-Ruler Kane, Marcus announced over the fleet-wide channel. Prepare for Operation Stormbreaker. We're taking that command ship down, whatever it costs. The Storm's Eye broke formation, heading directly for the hegemony. Superweapon. Other Zephyrian vessels followed, their hulls beginning to glow with accumulated bioelectric energy. On the planet's surface, every Zephyrian warrior capable of channeling their storm gift focused their power through the planetary energy grid. What happened next defied conventional understanding of physics. The bond between Marcus and Liara became a conduit, linking human determination with Zephyrian storm power on a planetary scale. Lightning arced between the fleet and the surface, growing stronger with each passing second. Impossible, breathed Dr. Chen, staring at his readings. The energy cascade is actually increasing instead of dissipating. It's like their bond is amplifying both species' abilities. The concentrated storm strike hit the hegemony command ship just as its planet-killer weapon reached full charge. The collision of energies created a brief second sun in Zerion's orbit, visible from the surface even through the perpetual storm clouds. When the light faded, both the weapon and most of the enemy fleet were gone. The few surviving hegemony ships fled into hyperspace, their adaptation protocols completely overwhelmed by forces they couldn't categorize or counter. Marcus collapsed into his command chair, the strain of channeling such massive energies through their bond, leaving him drained. Through their connection he felt Liara's exhaustion as well, but also her fierce joy in victory. Status report, he managed. Enemy fleet retreating, Torres confirmed. Minimal casualties on our side. Sir, what you and the Queen just did, that's going to change everything, Marcus nodded weakly. The galaxy had just witnessed something unprecedented, two species becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. The implications would ripple through known space for generations. Contact the surviving hegemony vessels, he ordered. Tell them to spread the word. Zerion 3 is under joint human Zephyrian protection. Anyone who threatens our people will face the storm. The war was over, but their legend was just beginning. 6 months after the Battle of Zerion III, Marcus stood in the gardens of the newly constructed Unity Palace, watching human and Zephyrian children play together under the planet's twin moons. The sight filled him with quiet satisfaction, proof that the bond he and Liara shared had created something larger than either of their individual species. "The Galactic Council's response arrived this morning," Liara said, approaching from the palace proper. Even in civilian clothes, she moved with the predatory grace that had first captivated him in the arena. The silver tattoos on her midnight blue skin had taken on new patterns since their bonding, flowing designs that seemed to mirror the neural pathways of their psychic connection. "Let me guess," Marcus replied, pulling her close as she reached him. "They're deeply concerned about the implications of human-Zephyrian integration. More than concerned. Terrified." Liara's violet eyes sparkled with amusement. "3 different species have formally requested our protection since news of the hegemony's defeat spread. The Andromedan Trade Federation wants to establish a permanent embassy here." Marcus chuckled, marveling at how much had changed since that first challenge in the arena. What had begun as a simple trial of strength had evolved into something that was reshaping galactic politics. The bond between them hadn't just united 2 individuals, it had proven that different species could literally become stronger together. "Captain Vasquez sends her regards, by the way," Marcus said, showing Liara the personal message he'd received. Earth Command approved her transfer request. She'll be leading the new human-Zephyrian military exchange program. "Good. Your people's tactical flexibility combined with our natural abilities will create an officer corps unlike anything the galaxy has seen." Liara leaned against him, her presence warm in both physical and psychic dimensions. "Speaking of new developments, Dr. Chen's latest research yielded interesting results." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Oh, our bond appears to be evolving. He believes it may eventually allow direct sharing of genetic memory, not just thoughts and emotions, but actual inherited experiences from our respective species." Liara's hand moved to rest over her abdomen, and Marcus felt his heart skip a beat as he understood her implication. "Are you saying the medical scans confirmed it yesterday? Our child will be the first true hybrid of our species, carrying both human adaptability and Zephyrian storm gift." Her smile was radiant. "Dr. Chen thinks the baby might even inherit aspects of our psychic bond." Marcus pulled her into his arms, overwhelmed by joy and wonder. When he'd accepted Liara's challenge, he'd expected to fight for his life, not find the love of it. Their child would grow up in a galaxy where the barriers between species were crumbling, where cooperation created possibilities that neither could achieve alone. "What do we tell them when they're old enough to ask how we met?" he asked, grinning. "The truth," Liara replied, her eyes twinkling, "that their father was brave enough to bleed for honor, and their mother was wise enough to taste destiny." As if summoned by their conversation, a group of the playing children ran toward them, human and Zephyrian youngsters who had grown up together, their laughter creating a harmony of different vocal ranges that somehow blended perfectly. Among them was young Kale, a Zephyrian boy whose silver tattoos flickered with bioelectric potential, and Zara, a human girl whose eyes held the keen intelligence of a natural strategist. "Uncle Marcus, Aunt Liara," they called in unison, using the honorary titles that all the palace children had adopted. "Come play with us." Marcus and Liara exchanged a look that conveyed everything their bond had given them. Love, purpose, hope for the future. They'd found in each other not just mates, but partners in building something unprecedented. A civilization where different species didn't just coexist, but truly became one. Hand in hand, they joined the children in their games, while overhead the stars of 1,000 worlds look down on the beginning of a new age. Character profiles and settings. Main characters. Marcus Kane, a seasoned human military commander, 35 years old, with 15 years of combat experience. Born in the urban sprawl of Neo-Tokyo Earth, he carries himself with quiet confidence, reminiscent of a modern special forces officer. His tactical brilliance and unwavering moral code make him a natural leader. Queen Liara, ruler of the Zephyrian Empire, equivalent to 30 human years. She possesses the midnight blue skin and bioelectric abilities of her species. Her bearing combines the regality of a constitutional monarch with the lethal grace of an elite athlete. Her violet eyes and silver tattoos mark her as royalty among her people. Captain Elena Vasquez, Marcus's closest friend and fellow Earth. Military officer, she represents the pragmatic professionalism of a modern naval officer. Her loyalty and tactical acumen make her invaluable as a liaison between species. Dr. James Chen, the expedition's xenobiologist whose scientific curiosity drives much of the understanding between the species. His role mirrors that of researchers at institutions like CERN or the CDC, brilliant, dedicated, and constantly pushing the boundaries of knowledge. Settings. Compared to reality, Zarion 3, the Zephyrian homeworld resembles Iceland during aurora. Season. Dramatic landscapes shaped by electromagnetic phenomena, with crystalline formations that evoke the ice caves of Vatnajökull Glacier. The perpetual storms mirror the dynamic weather patterns of polar regions. Unity Palace. The combined seat of government reflects architectural fusion similar to modern international cooperation buildings like the UN headquarters in New York, but with organic Zephyrian design elements reminiscent of Santiago Calatrava's flowing structures. The battle arena. The ceremonial combat space echoes ancient amphitheaters like the Colosseum, but set in a landscape that mirrors the dramatic canyons of Utah's Zion National Park, with crystalline formations adding an otherworldly beauty. The command bridge, the military nerve center aboard the Storm's Eye, resembles the bridge of a modern naval vessel like the USS Zumwalt, but enhanced with holographic displays and bioelectric interfaces that respond to both human technology and Zephyrian abilities. This story explores themes of unity, sacrifice, and finding strength in differences, concepts as relevant in our modern world as in any science fiction setting.